It wasn't the kind of headline you expect to see over your morning tea. Prince William accused of poisoning the Queen. And not just any Queen, Camilla. The stepmother, the one who had tiptoed her way into the throne room after years of public scorn and private power plays. The accusation came out of nowhere, and from all people, it was her own son, Tom Parker Bowles, who detonated the whole thing on national TV. In the drawing room of Kensington Palace, William had just finished reviewing his Earthshot event schedule. The scent of bergamot still lingered in the air when James, his private secretary, barged in, pale as parchment, phone trembling in hand. "Tom's on Good Morning Britain," he stammered. "He says you've been poisoning Camilla." The words landed like a hammer. Not absurd enough to laugh off, not grounded enough to ignore. William's cup slipped from his fingers and shattered on the floor. He didn't even flinch. His mind was already racing. What the hell was Tom playing at? They weren't close, never had been. Tom, the food critic, the man who floated through the edges of royal life like a ghost who never quite fit in. But this? Accusing the future king of murder on live TV? There was no coming back from that. Outside, the media had already caught the scent of blood, hashtags exploded, William the poster climbed to the top of the charts, reporters camped out like hyenas at Kensington's gates, shouting for statements. William didn't give them one. Instead, he called Camilla. She picked up on the second ring, her voice thin but polished, like someone reading a bedtime story. "Tom's just worried about me," she said. You know how he gets. But something about her tone scratched at William's gut. She sounded too composed. No panic, no confusion, no motherly disbelief. Just calm. Too calm. The next move wasn't PR. It was survival. William ordered Marcus, his most trusted palace aide, to pull surveillance from the week leading up to Tom's claim. Anything from the kitchen, the security rooms, Camilla's chambers. He wanted everything. When they reviewed the footage, things got strange. On one of the tapes, there she was, Camilla, healthy as ever, gliding through the hallway in a silk robe, smiling and brisk, not the fragile woman she portrayed in public. But it wasn't her presence that stood out. It was a small, unlabeled vial sitting next to her teacup in one of the rooms. "What the hell is that?" William asked, pointing at the screen. Marcus paused the footage, not listed on the kitchen inventory. Might be supplements. Or something else. And then it happened. When they tried to load the footage from the exact date Tom claimed Camilla had been sick, the screen flashed red. File missing. Access denied. Deleted? William asked. From a high-level account, Marcus replied. Only a few people have that access. Camilla's one of them. Now the tea didn't taste like bergamot, it tasted like betrayal. Later that evening, in a quiet London cafe far from the palace's prying eyes, William met with Edward, his communications strategist. Together, they sifted through the evidence like detectives in a political thriller. Deleted footage, encrypted emails. One, from Tom to Camilla, chilled William to the core. The plan to remove the obstacle is progressing well. That was it. No names, no dates, just cold intent wrapped in vague words. William didn't need a decoder ring. The obstacle was him. He leaned back in the chair, the wood creaking under the weight of what he now knew. Camilla wasn't just protecting Tom, she was orchestrating something bigger. St. James Palace. A place built on tradition, but today, it felt more like a war room. William paced the edge of the long mahogany table in the drawing room, floorboards creaking beneath his polished shoes. Marcus had already arrived and placed the printed emails, photos, and surveillance screenshots into a neat folder labeled simply Tom. Edward stood near the window, peeking between velvet drapes as a black car pulled up to the palace entrance. Tom stepped out, alone. No entourage, no security detail, just a gray overcoat and the same smug confidence that had shined through the screen during his morning TV ambush. William didn't flinch. He needed answers, not theatrics. The door clicked open. Tom entered, eyes darting around like he expected cameras. When they landed on William, his shoulders stiffened just a bit. "Afternoon," Tom said, trying to keep it casual. "Sit," William replied, already heading to his chair. Tom took the seat across from him, crossing one leg over the other, like this was just another family brunch. William opened the folder and slid a printout across the table. "You sent this to Camilla," he said. "Your mother?" Tom glanced down. "Vague enough to be meaningless," he said with a shrug. "I could have been talking about the plumbing." "You're not clever enough to play dumb, Tom," William snapped. Tom leaned back. "I'm not the one deleting footage and hiding USB drives." That made Edward shift. William didn't move. He simply reached into the folder again and pulled out the still image from the video. Camilla at her desk, USB in hand. "This was 2 days before your interview. She was in the security room. Not sick, not frail, not dying." Tom hesitated for half a second. That was all William needed. "You're being used," William said. "She's feeding you pieces of a plan she's too scared to execute herself." Tom's jaw twitched. "She's the queen. Maybe you should show her a little respect." "Respect?" William repeated, voice cold. "She staged illness, deleted evidence, used you to accuse me on live television, and now you're sitting here pretending this is normal?" Tom didn't respond. He looked away, suddenly more interested in the wood grain on the table than in his cousin's accusations. "You're her son," William said more quietly now, "but she's not protecting you. She's protecting herself. You're a pawn." Silence. Then Tom scoffed. "You think she's afraid of you? Of what, William? Your charity events? Your PR team?" "I think," William said calmly, "that she's afraid I'll expose her. I already have more than enough to cast doubt. Public opinion is shifting. You saw the Times this morning." Tom frowned. "You planted that." "No," Edward cut in. "We leaked it. Big difference." The tension thickened. Tom stood, pushing the chair back just enough to make a statement. "You don't understand her," he said, voice tight. "You think because you wear the crown next, you hold all the cards. But you've never had to fight for your place like she did." William rose too, but slower. "I'm not fighting for my place. I'm protecting it. There's a difference." Tom paused in the doorway, hand on the knob. "Be careful, William. You might win this round, but she always plays the long game." The door shut behind him. Marcus spoke first. "He's cracking." "He didn't expect the surveillance stills." William nodded, eyes still on the empty doorway. "Get Anna. I want her on record. And find the name of the staffer Camilla met after leaving the security room. We find them, we finish this." Anna sat stiffly in the corner of the quiet chamber beneath Kensington Palace, her uniform crisp, hands folded tightly in her lap. The kitchen assistant had never been summoned to speak directly with the Prince of Wales, let alone under oath. Marcus stood beside her, clipboard in hand, while Edward recorded everything. William leaned forward, voice calm but firm. "Anna, take your time. Just tell me exactly what you saw." She nodded, swallowing. "I was delivering a tray to the North Wing, near the Queen's private quarters. I passed the security room. The door was open." She hesitated. "I saw Her Majesty inside, alone. She had a USB in her hand and was looking at the surveillance monitors. When she saw me, she smiled quickly and shut the door." "Did she say anything?" Anna nodded slowly. "Just run along, dear. You've seen nothing important." William's jaw tightened. "And after that, I saw her leave the room about 10 minutes later. She met someone in the hallway, a man in a dark uniform. He handed her a fold. They spoke for a moment and then both went separate ways." "Did you recognize him?" Anna hesitated. "No, sir, but I've seen him around the Royal Charity Wing. Quiet type, doesn't wear the standard staff ID." Marcus made a note. "We'll check cross logs of staff rotations and charity access." Anna looked nervously between them. "Am I in trouble?" William offered a slight smile. "No, you might have just helped save the monarchy." By nightfall, Marcus had the name. Elijah Dean, mid-level data manager tied to the Royal Charity Fund's digital infrastructure. No public profile, no press photos, but when security pulled internal logs, his fingerprints were everywhere. File access, USB permissions, even communications with Camilla's office, encrypted but flagged by the system. He was the runner, Edward confirmed, showing the monitor. He passed the internal document Tom referenced. "We traced the file to his terminal." William stared at Elijah's personnel file. "Background clean? No red flags? Just quiet loyalty to one office." "She's building a parallel system," he said under his breath. "One that doesn't go through me or my father." He looked at Edward. Draft a final article. Include the footage, stills, Anna's testimony, and the internal file trace. No names, but make sure the implication is loud enough for the public to hear. The next morning, headlines flooded the news cycle. New evidence suggests royal tampering in surveillance cover-up. Insider access points to coordinated deletion of files following poison allegations. Public curiosity snapped into suspicion. Camilla remained silent, but her usual public appearances were suddenly postponed. Tom canceled 2 interviews. Inside Buckingham, whispers turned into questions. Later that afternoon, Charles summoned William privately. His father's voice, though frail, still carried steel. "I don't want this to become a war inside our own house," he said, eyes tired. "But I know what she's capable of." William held nothing back, the evidence, the manipulation, the intent to undermine. Charles nodded slowly. "Then you have my blessing. Do what you must." Quietly. That night, Camilla received a handwritten letter from the king himself. It was brief, only 1 sentence: "Step back from the fund immediately." No title, no warning, just command. Elijah Dean was reassigned without notice. Tom disappeared from public view. The palace remained silent. Weeks passed. The noise faded. But inside Kensington, William kept the folder labeled Tom locked away in a drawer, not as leverage, as memory of how close the throne had come to betrayal and how sometimes the quietest rooms hide the loudest battles.